Alright, quick update on Binance coin ticker symbol BNB. So it looks like right now we're finding a super high level of resistance in the daily EMA ribbons. The last couple of times that we've done this, it has not spelt well for BNB. So what should we be expecting next? That's what we're going to dive into now. The last two videos I've made for BNB, I gave you two different price targets. 2 videos ago, we were sitting at $279, and I was telling you that we were going to come down to this big support box round here, around about $167. This was initially a 41% drop I was predicting, and we came down 34%. Since that video, in my previous video, I updated you with a more macro prediction in where I think the bear market low is going to be. I believe the video was titled where I'm buying BNB, something like this. Let me pull up the chart to find out. So if we head over to here, Binance coin BNB, where I'm buying. 6 days ago we highlighted that once we do, and in my opinion, obviously I don't have a crystal ball, this is where I personally perceive that we're going to be dropping to. When and if we do drop down to $100, this is when I'm going to be buying. We've obviously had a slight move up since then, so we will have to re-drag this over. Nonetheless, since I was calling for these drops down here at $280, even when I was calling them when we broke out of the this bearish pennant round about $304, I was calling for these big drops, and that is what we are currently witnessing right now. A couple of other things that I would like to highlight is we are once again forming the exact same market structure as we did when we were in the previous bearish pennant, and you can see how well the previous bearish pennant that we pointed out played out. So if we draw this out, you can see I've drawn this out a little bit too long. It should be from this region here, so I don't exaggerate the price target or anything. So previously we were talking about this big bear flag breakdown, which is why we've got this orange line here, which is the 786 Fibonacci, and also this green support box down here, which actually lines up to the bearish pennant breakdown target. Now, all we did is we extrapolated this breakdown, and this yielded us our first bearish price target of 163, which we almost hit in the head. We came down to 183, had a dead cat bounce. What is the market structure saying once again? Well, let's zoom out to what we've done previously, because we've done this time over time again. I know this one's a little bit of a reach, this one, but it's definitely valid. And you know, the price target of this is definitely not going to be valid because this is going to be in the minuses. Nonetheless, you've got a massive bear flag. This was a macro one. You basically lollygagged in the daily EMAs. I imagine you lollygagged in the weekly EMAs. You did. So this is very similar to what we did on the higher time frames, but we're looking at this on the daily. So if we remove this, you basically bear flagged into these moving averages and moved back down to the downside. What did we do when we had our most recent macro bear flag? Had a massive capitulation, had a relief rally, dead cat bounce, whatever you want to call it. We came up to the daily EMAs. What did we do? We had a high, we start to break down, came back up, and we M'd to the downside. With this M pattern, Binance coin was able to capitulate to the bottom half of this bearish pennant, and we've still got this price target down here, around about 163, that I think is going to be playing out. What are we doing once again? We're bear flagging down, we're having a relief rally / dead cat bounce, and we're finding our resistance once again, just like we did here, just like we did here, just like we did here. And we can zoom out and find that time over time again, we do have these fake outs. Now, over in this market structure, we actually managed to have a successful flip, but all we did is M back to the downside. So this was a fake out. Nonetheless, every other time you can see, come into the daily EMAs, rejected. Daily EMAs, rejected, 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 rejected. This is when you broke market structure temporarily. A lot of people got euphoric, like altcoins were bouncing very hard back here, but this is when you zoom out, look at the fibs, you get rejected from the 382, you get rejected from the 200-day, and that is when everything started to solidify. We don't have that right now, but what we do have is the same bearish market structure, just a few different technicals with the same bear flag into the EMAs playing out time over time again. So if we do extrapolate this bear flag, this would be coming roundabout to 120, which if we zoom out, you can also see this was a tiny area of support. Like I'm not saying this is going to be like a massive massive level of support. It's really not. And also this green trend line down here is not associated with any previous data points that we've held. It's simply where I believe is going to be the best level to buy, because this is going to be a massive psychological level, and I really don't think BNB is going to drop below $100. So what I'd actually be doing is I'd be starting to DCA at 121, 118, 100, and I'd be buying within this range. This is my updated prediction. This is where I plan on picking up some BNB. So in the short term, this is what I see panning out. I think we're going to break to the downside. I think the market structure is very, very clear that we are heading in a downwards spiral. If we finish off on BNB BTC, this one's a little bit more tricky. And, you know, while I definitely do think BNB USD is super, super black and white, and I'd be willing to bet money on this because I am betting money on this. I'm getting ready for the next short as we capitulate below this bearish pennant. With that being said, though, BNB BTC is very, very overbought now. This is super, super overbought, but the market structure is still bearish. You've got a high, lower high, lower high, and if we do just kind of remove some of the noise and just focus on this trend line, we are slowly trickling to the downside. It's definitely a weird one because BNB is holding up better than every single other altcoin BTC pair that I personally check out on this channel. I'm not saying it is the best performing altcoin against Bitcoin. I'm saying that out of all the altcoins that I cover on my YouTube channel, this one is doing the best out of all of them. So that being said, I do think this is kind of uncanny. I don't think that we should be at this valuation against Bitcoin. I definitely don't think 1 BNB should be equivalent to, you know, 1.1 recurring percent of a Bitcoin. That is just my opinion. I really do like the Binance exchange. It is one of my favorite ones, but, you know, once again, you know, Binance is currently under threat because the SEC deems that it is a security. And, you know, I really don't want to jump into this too much because I know this is a touchy subject, but Binance is, or Binance BNB is a security of the Binance exchange. Why is it a security? Because they had an initial coin offering on their BNB tokens. They sold, you know, their unregistered security to investors to buy in the Binance Smart Chain or the BNB protocol before it did hit the market. So they were investing, you know, hoping for returns based on the efforts of others, and that is basically the exact definition of a security. If you don't know what securities are, because I know most people in the cryptocurrency markets don't, and a lot of people are very quick to say, oh, you know, this isn't a security, XRP isn't a security, BNB isn't a security, Solana isn't a security. If you don't know what a security is, go over to my educational playlist. If you click on my channel, click on playlist, click on view full playlist, it will be the top video up here. Most cryptocurrencies are securities. I talk about everything by the book on what the SEC deems to be a security. I talk about the Howey test and talk about examples of previous cases where the SEC has gone after quote unquote securities. So with that being said, I think there's a lot of, you know, negative aura potentially in the air and incoming for Binance. I still really do like this cryptocurrency, even if it does have to get regulated and become a licensed security if it loses its SEC case. I think this would just add a little bit of extra fire, push us down to potentially 100, and then that is where I personally plan on buying BNB. Before we do wrap up this video, like I said, if you are new to the channel, warm welcome. On my channel, I provide both TA and educational content. So if you want to learn, you know, what securities are, you know, how to draw Fibonacci's, Fibonacci candles, Elliott wave theory, how to, you know, overlap charts on top of each other over on TradingView. If you want to know the difference between a coin and a token, and if you for yourself want to look at the factual data on the definitions of a security and you want to decide yourself, is Binance a security, be sure to head over to my video, or just be sure to head over, go over to Google, type in Investopedia, what is a security, look at Wikipedia, look at the Howey test. These are all very black and white things. It is not a, you know, a debatable answer whether Binance is a security. It is a black and white, yes, it is an unregistered security. So with that being said, I still do like it. I do just think it probably needs to have some regulation, which will potentially pull the price down before we do enter the next bull run. I'm a big fan of Binance. You know, don't take away from this video me fudding Binance and saying it's a security, so I don't like it. Almost all cryptocurrencies are securities. That is the fact. If you do research securities laws, you will understand that. Nonetheless, I do really like Binance, I like CZ, I like the Binance platform, and Binance is personally what I use myself, and I trust Binance a lot more than any other exchange. So, once again, if you're new to the channel, warm welcome. Don't think that I'm bashing Binance by any means. I'm just pointing out the facts here, which is what a lot of YouTubers would not rather do, because they'd rather just say to the moon 24/7, and then that gets, all the moon boys and all the likes. But we keep it real on this channel. It is what it is. I'm a fan of this project, but I'm telling you, this is heading down to lower price targets. With that being said, 167 is the next leg to the downside. So in the short term, in the next couple of weeks, maybe the next month, expect a 30% drop. Subsequently after that, coming down to $100, this would be a 58% drop, which I could definitely see coming into fruition. Now, once again, if you're a little bit more conservative than me and you do not believe that we'll be heading down to 100, bear in mind there's a lot of confluence. This bearish pennant breakdown, there's the 786 Fibonacci, which is your last line in the sand. If we break down to the 786, back test it, and start to head up into the next bull market, then that would be extremely bullish for Binance. So once again, if you're more conservative than me, 167, that is a very conservative price target to estimate the bear market low for BNB. I personally think between 120 and 100. With that being said, that is all I've got for you. BNB USD and BNB BTC both look like they're going to be heading down. BNB BTC, because this is such a tricky chart, I necessarily wouldn't trade Binance against Bitcoin. I'd be much more comfortable trading this in US dollar terms and taking profits in US dollar terms. So that's all I've got for you today. As always, not financial advice. Cowboy out. Peace.